Hey everyone, in this video, this is going to be the part 2 of my installment of attempting to find message market fit on behalf of our customers. And I hope if you are trying to find message market fit, this would be helpful for you as well. I'm going to start off this video with just some proof that we've just used in order to create this process, and then we're going to jump into the actual process. Without further ado, let's hit it. Year to date for 2024, we're taken on July 31st, 2024, we have generated 6,220 positive responses just year to date for our customers. And I know it doesn't add up to 6,000 in this screenshot. This is just a screenshot of the sum from an analytics page that I just have for my customers. And so we get tons of crazy, good positive responses for our emails, the way we personalize them, the way that we do them. And these are literally all screenshots of replies that we've gotten from our email campaigns, literally like saying, I have to say I don't respond to cold emails, although I'm impressed, like all these kind of things. And I have all of these just in here, right? And so I show these because what I want to try to convey in this video is I've recently reviewed all of the customers that we've had in Growth Engine X, and I wanted to find out, is there any campaigns that were repeatable for these customers that we should be launching on a regular basis for our other customers? And so I believe that we have created a new message market fit process that is always in development. I don't think we're ever going to finish our message market fit process, but this video is going to act as a part 2 to our message market fit process. And so if you saw my last message market fit process, I think some of the ideas we had were a little bit too hacky and they weren't scalable for everyone. And so what we're working on currently is, what are the past campaigns that were very successful for everybody? And what are the campaigns that everybody should just be running that they can just check off and just say, okay, we tried that, it didn't work, let's move to the next one. And is there a repeatable process that goes along with this as well? Because whether you work with our agency or you're running outbound campaigns yourself, you need a good process of campaigns that you're actually going to run for people. And so I'm going to jump over to another Google Doc where we have them all lined up, and I'm going to explain each one. But essentially what we're trying to do is have a 4-batch process where we have cold email campaign ideas ranging from highly scalable, different lists, copywriting, messaging, all these different kind of things. And what we're essentially trying to do is, like I said, build a checklist where if you go through this process, whether it's with us or on your own, there's a 95% chance, as long as you execute it correctly, that either cold email is going to work for you and you're going to find a campaign that wins, or that you should be trying a different channel, which is also okay too. So let's hop over to that document right now. So this is a current list of ideas that we have in order to help companies find message market fit on their outbound campaigns, specifically using cold email. Like I said, this is not an exhaustive list. I'm not even saying that this is the list. At this point in time, this is just the list that we're working with and we're finding the most success with our customers. And I'm going to explain the thinking behind all of them. And so if we onboard a new customer, the first campaigns that we run are in this campaign batch 1. We run our creative ideas campaign, our standard email sequence campaign, and our lookalike targeting campaign. And so I'm going to break down each of these campaigns. I think we even have them in this swipe file for you as well too. So this is our standard sequence template. So for this one, we'll just start in the middle right here. Our standard sequence template is this template right here, where we're essentially saying, what I love about this campaign is it's modular and it fits for everybody. And we can test multiple versions of messaging and value propositions without reinventing the entire message like crazy. And so in this template, you'll see that I wrote a little while ago, we're saying, hey, first name, recency waterfall, or relevance-based first line. Essentially, all this is if you're reaching out to somebody and you need to answer the question, why am I reaching out to you? Why am I doing this now? This is something John Barrows talks about all the time. We're putting this AI-generated message in this line right here. Now, sometimes people can reach out and they can say, hey, I know you're doing enterprise sales because Megan on your team has enterprise sales in their LinkedIn profile. So I had to figure that you're doing enterprise sales and I wanted to reach out. Obviously, you'd make that shorter, but that would be something where you would have a relevant first line to be able to reach out to somebody. The thing, what I call something a recency waterfall, sometimes when we work with customers, they don't have a super publicly available relevant thing that they could be reaching out about. So what we do is we have a waterfall where I've already made another video on this, where we just look for high fidelity, recent data about the person or the company. So we could say, hey, I found this about you. It made me look into your company. And after looking into your company, I think we should connect. I saw your LinkedIn post about fitness enthusiasts. I started looking at your company and I saw how you help fitness enthusiasts breathe better. And I thought we should get connected. That's what essentially these two lines would look like. Then for the messaging to be tested, one of my favorite things to say here is we'll say something like, not sure if it's a fit, but we're helping e-commerce brands, increase their revenue with email marketing, whatever it might be. I don't know. But you put your messaging in here and you test, okay, we're going to test this value proposition. We're going to test that value proposition, whatever it might be. I have other videos on this that you can find on my channel. So I'm not going to spend too much time on this in particular, but you use this opportunity here to display different ways that you can help people. Oftentimes, every offer in the world breaks down to how you help people save time, save money, or make more money. So usually they break down into those things, and we're testing that messaging here. And then we use AI to say specifically, I think it could help you. And then we train AI on what your company does. So when we reach out to this company, we can get a really relevant line to be spit out right here. This is just one of my all-time favorite campaigns to be running for people because you get to test a lot of messaging to see what's working, but then also you get that really, really nice relevance in your first line here. And then you get the really, really nice relevance about the offer applied to their company right here too. So this is just one of the first campaigns just off the rip that we start with because it modulates so well. It makes it look really relevant. I just really love this campaign. I'm not a big fan of email templates, but this is definitely one of my favorite ones. And then for creative ideas right here, this campaign was maybe one of the first AI generated campaign I ever came up with. And it's still one of my favorite campaigns. I know we have it in the standard sequence template in this swipe file document as an email 3 to the standard email sequence, but we'll also run it as an email 1 as well too. And so what this basically does is we have some kind of first line where since this is email 3, we're saying, let me know if we should reach out to this company, this employee or this employee, but we would probably swap this for something more like the recency waterfall. And what we're basically doing is we're just reintroducing the offer and we're saying, basically, I would put some offer messaging testing right here as well. If this were an email 1, we would put offer message testing right there. And then we say, I had 3 ideas about how we could specifically help. The reason I love this campaign so much as its own email 1, I know we have it here as email 3, and that might be a little confusing, but as its own email 1, the reason I love it so much is because sometimes when we're onboarding a customer or you're writing your own campaigns, you're just trying to guesstimate what you think they're going to find valuable. But if you train AI on what you actually do and then review websites that you're about to reach out to manually, and you write 3 to 4 literal manual versions of how you'd be able to help them, and then you run this in an email campaign, it comes up with some really great ideas and value propositions that you might not have thought of. And it keeps it extremely relevant to the people that you're reaching out to. So again, I like letting this run because then we're not doing the guessing on the value proposition. The AI is helping us invent some of those things. And it also, again, turns out to be extremely relevant for the companies that we're reaching out to. And so now you can do these things, but I would say the only campaign that this falls a little bit flat for is if you're reaching out to the same company over and over again. If you're a SaaS company and you're reaching out to hotels, we actually just did this. If you're reaching out to hotels and you help them with their training, it's not really like you're going to help a hotel over here different with their training than over here. But what we did in that campaign is we broke down how we help with the training and then we localized it. So then we said, at your hotel, an upsell is this thing. We can help you get more upsells towards that thing. Or these are the attractions. We can help your team suggest those attractions, whatever it might be. You could also break it down that way when you manually write them. And it's super easy to train the AI to be able to do this inside of Clay. So again, one of my favorite campaigns to just start with right off the bat. And then we go back to lookalike targeting. This is also one of my favorite campaigns to start with. Literally, we're just using ocean.io. We find one of your case studies. We find lookalikes to that case study, and then we literally just go tell them the exact outcome that you had with that case study, explain a little bit of how it happened, and show that case study that, hey, you're similar to that company. We've done this before, and you have a super relevant message. So in here, we basically have this spectrum of AI coming up with, having a lot of freedom to come up with relevant messaging. Then we are reducing that freedom a little bit, and we're more in control of that as well, but we still have some freedom for the AI to do it in the third line in the standard email sequence. And then for the lookalike targeting, there's no AI, there's no freedom. We're literally just like, this is our case study. You look exactly like our case study. And then we let that go as well too. So now if this first batch for some reason doesn't work, then we move on to the second batch. And so in the second batch, my hypothesis, well, not even my hypothesis, this is just a fact. When you're running cold email campaigns, there's a couple levers that you can pull. You can change the copywriting and you can change the messaging, or you can change the way that you're pulling your list, right? And so oftentimes people kind of know that they're selling to this title or that title. And so maybe there's a little bit of a switch to be done that if you think that you should be selling to the director of finance, but the CEO is really the person you should be reaching out to, maybe a little bit of a switch there. But for the most part, you're going to keep pulling the same list. The triggers that I think everybody should try that we just bake into all of our campaigns is we will run a campaign where we find people who are new in their role. We'll run a campaign where people are hiring for certain positions. We'll see if there's any tech installations on their website. We'll also look for very specific keywords on their LinkedIn profile, past company experience at current customers, first time enroll, or a custom trigger. And so we don't run these for every single company, but we present them and we say, okay, which ones do you think would be most relevant? New enroll, I would say, is probably the one that everybody should be running. And I don't think we've ever not run that campaign if we get far enough with a customer. And so new enroll is just something I think everybody should be running. Hiring is actually one that I think is a little bit overused lately, especially with how many companies are coming out and they're scraping job boards and things like that. I think if you run a graphic design software and they're hiring for a graphic designer and you say, hey, you're hiring for a graphic designer, you should use my software. I don't think that is a great use of this trigger. The way we're using this now is we'll see if they're hiring for a certain position and they mention certain keywords in the job description, and then we'll message towards that. So we've gone away from messaging towards the title and we're more so messaging towards the job description. For the very specific keywords, this is one, we actually ran this for clay.com where we were targeting growth marketers, but we specifically pulled their LinkedIn profiles to target any growth marketer who mentioned no code, growth hacking, outbound, low code, all these different keywords. So we could very specifically message them about our value proposition and how it related to those keywords. Past company experience at current customers. I just love this campaign. It's literally, you have 1,000 current customers. Let's see if there's anybody in your ICP who used to work at one of those customers, but now they don't. And then they've moved on, into the world. This is just one of our favorite campaigns to run. It's not that scalable. Actually, I would say the thing against all of these campaigns is they're not infinitely scalable, but it at least rules out, is the trigger the most important part here, or is it the messaging? And that's what we're going for here. So here we're testing messaging. Here we're testing triggers. First time enroll, one of my favorites. It's like, hey, it's the first time you've ever been a chief marketing officer before. How are you thinking about these things? We could also run this as like a second or a third time enroll. Hey, this is your third time around being a chief marketing officer. I know you've probably solved these pitfalls in the past, but have you ever thought about this? That's another trigger you could run that's not on this list. Or then we'll also take on a custom trigger from a customer. So like, not everybody can benefit from reaching out when, employee headcount growth increases, but that's another one that you could add in, or company news or whatever it might be. And so in campaign batch 2, we're essentially changing most of the triggers, but we're still sending similar campaigns to the creative ideas, the standard email sequence, or the lookalike targeting. And lookalike targeting we would probably take out because we probably don't have a lot left from there because lookalike isn't infinite, but we keep this messaging pretty much the same. And then all the first lines change and maybe the second lines into these triggers, right? So now we've done messaging testing in 3 different variations, and then we've done trigger testing. Now, if none of those things work, the big thing that for all the people who, might not agree with me with the way that outbound campaigns should be run, I'm very biased towards using AI in all of our campaigns. You should see our GPT bill. But what we want to rule out is AI actually hurting our campaigns instead of making them better? So in campaign batch 3, this is where we completely rewrite all of the messaging and we try different things. So we have the Poke the Bear campaign and the Asking About Priority campaign. The Poke the Bear campaign is very much based off of Josh Braun's teaching and his styles. And so this is basically what it would look like. We basically, have built a bot for Josh Braun style emails. We write it ourselves manually as well too. We'll start with a relevant first line. We'll poke the bear. We say we're helping companies with a case study achieve an outcome in time without, risk, no good, rotten thing or risk, right? And then we'll do all of that. The asking about priority, this is actually the Patrick William Joyce classic email. He's a really good copywriter. And I just like the frame of this email and how nobody really sends emails like this. But instead of asking directly for a meeting in this email, we're also just asking, is this just a priority in the company right now? Right. And so that's just what I like about this campaign. So no AI in these campaigns. We're just running completely static text campaigns, but we're just making very, very simple messaging. I'm going to skip over here to the extremely short messaging. Extremely short messaging, we're just sending 1 or 2 emails with value, 1 or 2 sentences in the email. Really, really short, to the point. We've seen extremely short messaging outperform AI-based emails. We've seen AI-based emails outperform extremely short messaging. It goes back and forth. And so here, then we'll switch to a 1-sentence or a 2-sentence email campaign and just cut straight through the noise. So then from a copywriting perspective, we're trying to talk more about their current pains. We're asking about priority. And then we're also keeping things extremely short and easy to respond to. And then another campaign that we'll try is a weekend campaign to decision makers and individual contributors. And the reason I like this campaign is it's another just pattern interrupt of just getting another shot of just sending an email in a way that people don't often receive emails. And so what we'll do is, if you're commonly reaching out to the VP of sales, and that's the target that you're going for, we will go below them and we'll go above them, and we'll ask again about the priority. But now we can say to a AE on the team, we can say, hey, and we'll send this on a Saturday. Hey, I reached out to your VP of sales. We'll name the VP of sales because we have the data. Hey, I reached out to your VP of sales about blank, and I'm not sure if they missed my email or what it might be, but do you think this is actually a priority at the company? We help in this way and blah, 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 blah. Is this something that you guys could actually get help from? So you're running like a grassroots campaign and just trying to gather interest on the grassroots side. Then we'll also go above them and we'll go to the CEO and we'll say, hey, this is totally on us. We sent an email to your VP of sales. They didn't respond. I just wanted to check with you first. Is this something that you'd want to improve about the sales team? And I should try to continue having a conversation with insert VP of sales, right? And so again, we're just sending this on the weekend to just kind of say hey, and check in above them. Above them and below them, and see, is this actually a problem that we could help with in your company? And then meme template campaigns. I would say I don't really send a meme template campaign where the entire campaign is a meme, but I do have 1 or 2 memes that are kind of our go-to that we'll send in follow-up emails that I really like. And I'm not saying that we run this as its own campaign, but I like to insert these kinds of things for like email 2 or email 3. For Clay.com, we just helped them book a meeting with Salesforce, and it came from the meme that we put in the campaign. So this just kind of gets included in this batch when we're trying. Like I said, think about the levers that you can pull. You've got your list that you're sending to and what you're saying. Over here, we're heavily focused on just the best things that we could possibly say to them that have worked for most of our customers in the past, as these 2 are our winning campaigns. Actually, these 3 are our winning campaigns for our customers in the past. And then we change the list, and okay, maybe is it a trigger that's going to get their attention? Is that the most important part? We absolutely let customers give us a custom trigger, but we also let them take their pick. They usually don't run all of these from right here. And then in campaign batch 3, wipe away all the triggers, wipe away all the copywriting, start completely fresh with some new and different ideas. Then if this still doesn't work, we get into campaign batch 4, where we do much more unscalable things, or things that don't totally equate to somebody becoming a lead, but hopefully they can help us learn about the market. So unscalable things that we like to do is to target LinkedIn engagement or followers and say, okay, this person, it follows this company for whatever reason. We think that they're interested in some way. I usually don't include that we say, hey, I saw that you're following this company, blah, 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 but we're just using them as like a way to just build lists right there. Another good one that you can do here too is LinkedIn group scraping. We can add that one in too. The reason I don't do these further up in our sequence is because they're kind of unscalable and they're pretty expensive to run these. LinkedIn group scraping is really easy, but these are pretty expensive to run, and it's not that scalable. But at this point, we need to be trying as many things as we possibly can to get people's attention. And then the sender similarity campaign, this is just another kind of hacky campaign where it's like, if you went to Cornell, if you, the sender, went to Cornell, We can score everybody in your ICP for other people who went to Cornell as well too. And then we can do an alumni campaign. I know it sounds a little corny. Don't call out the mascot or anything like that. We've definitely seen that this campaign gets an outsized amount of positive responses just because of that kind of like social proof, and you're together and you share something. We've absolutely seen it works. Don't listen to the gurus that college doesn't work as a personalization. Just don't do anything with AI, and just reach out to other alumni. Don't go crazy, and being like, oh, you went to Rutgers, that's crazy. That we don't do. It's you went to Cornell, and then a head of sales at another company went to Cornell, and you share that. Perfect. We've even done sender similarity where you both used to work at the past company, at the same past company. So we'll pull every VP of sales who at some point worked at Salesforce, and now they're in your ICP working at other companies. That's another sender similarity. We've even done like you have the same name as them, and it's like I'm Nick, you're Nick, we should talk, right? Like that has even gotten an outsized amount of returns. So I like that one too. The media creation campaign, we use this to essentially create a campaign where now at this point we haven't gotten any leads, right? If we're at batch 4, we haven't gotten any leads, or we haven't gotten leads scalably. And so what we need to start doing is learning about the ideal customer profile. And so what I like about this media creation campaign is it could possibly become a lead magnet for you, and it gets a high amount of responses. So what we'll do is we'll send an email where we essentially, I think I have it in our swipe file actually. We're essentially, reaching out and we're saying, hey, we're speaking with other leaders, and we'll request for quote from first name. We're speaking with other leaders. No call is necessary. We just have 2 questions. And then we'll just ask 2 questions. But here, this question could possibly turn into a lead magnet. Question intended to actually ask their opinion that could be interesting for others in your industry. And then 2, question intended to see if they have a problem you might be able to solve. So up here, it's like, how many inbound calls are you receiving before you think about adding an inbound rep? And then question 2 is, what's your speed to lead? If you help with speed to lead, right? How fast are you reaching out to these leads? And then they'll say like 3 days. And you can be like, yo, that's crazy. That's actually what our company helps does. We're looking to share answers from you and your peers anonymously in a report. We're gathering. And so here we just want to learn, like, how are they thinking about the problem in the market? And then the other campaign that we have in here is just a feedback campaign. Shout out to Jed Marley. Stole it from him. I'm just saying, like, look, let me preface this. I'm not trying to sell anything. This is what we do. Could this be useful to you? And here, again, we're just trying to learn about the market. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel. By this point, if we haven't gotten leads, we just need to get feedback from the market. And so then in this next section, we're just going to talk quickly. I just have to pause the video very quick, but we're just going to talk quickly about how we think about making offers, case studies, and all those other things. So one thing that I also think about with email campaigns is, how do you actually present your offer in the email campaigns? Because from my estimation right now, I think you can do it in 3 different ways. So the first way that you can do it is you can just make a flat out offer, right? Like that's just going to work. We used to work with one company. They bought the email system from us. So it worked so well that they actually were just like, yep, we'll run this for ourselves now. And what they would do is they would reach out to schools and they would say, hey, instead of you paying for your electronics to be taken away, I'll buy them for you. So we didn't exactly say that. We would basically say, hey, if you're looking to get rid of any electronics, we want to buy them off of you. Because we implicitly were saying we know that you pay somebody else to take care of them. We don't need to share case studies or anything like that. We can just make an offer and we can just get to the point, right? And so I think there are some outbound campaigns where you could just make an offer and you would be completely set. And so then I like to start all of our customers off by just making an offer. And the easiest way to make an offer is, I call it the Hormozy style, but I'm not even sure if he would take credit for it because I'm sure, somebody else invented this. But if you just say, we help type of person accomplish outcome in time without risk, that's a great way to just make an offer framework. So a lot of times we'll just put in that email 1, we'll be putting that there, or we might even make the whole email copy all about the offer, right? And then if you can't just send somebody an email offering them something, then I think the next level that you could go to is overwhelming or matching them with case studies and social proof to say, hey, we helped this company accomplish XYZ. Here's exactly how we did it. This was their result. Would you want to talk about creating some kind of outcome like that? Very similar to an offer, obviously, but I hope you understand the distinction here where it's, hey, I'll buy your laptops if you guys are getting rid of them, versus, we have a ton of experience with buying laptops. I just bought them from this person over here. It's a super easy process. We can do it all for you, right? And then by my estimation, again, after that, I think you could be sending insights and lead magnets. And so I think a lead magnet, I mean, this is how I even started this business. The first way I was getting my customers when I started this business is I would build a list of sales leaders in LinkedIn Sales Navigator, and then I would turn on the tab for posted in the last 90 days. And I would scrape all of the sales leaders that I had in Sales Navigator. And then I would email them and I say, hey, I saw your post on LinkedIn recently. I took all of the people who liked and commented on your last 10 posts, and I enriched them for their email addresses, their title, their company headcount, their industry, all these things. And I put it in a Google Doc here. I'm just getting started in B2B growth hacking, and I wanted to provide value to you. Just click the link and request access so that I know that you got it. That was essentially the email that we were sending. And we would get tons and tons of responses that I could easily turn into meetings for that. So we would give them the list, and then we would say, okay, what are you going to do with the list? How do you think about outbound? And then we would book a meeting with them. So that's how I was using a lead magnet, right? But sometimes people don't have, it's like SaaS companies, and there's a bunch of other types of companies that they don't have something that they can tangibly give for free that's going to be valuable. And so I try to help people remember that basically every business is based off of knowledge or time arbitrage. And so either you know something about how to do a process or reach some result or whatever it might be, you know something about that, or you've spent time investing in a process to make it easier. So I know how to build clay tables, but I also have built a process where we can send 1.5 million cold emails a month, right? Like that is the two sides of the frame in the insight. So if you don't have a lead magnet to be able to give somebody, you for sure know something about the market or have spent a lot of time building something that's useful to the market, and you can share that and see if it could get people interested in your email. So instead of having zero lead magnet, you can just say, hey, we recruit in order to interview people for our recruiting agency. We speak to 2,000 candidates. Here's a checklist of all of the things that we're looking for, right? Just to get some kind of interest and engagement from them on the other side. And then feedback is the final thing. And I almost put it like all the way down here because we really want to stay focused on these. Feedback is just when nothing's working, you could use cold email as a place to just learn about the market and pull insights from it from there. And so I say all of these things because I think that these are, again, you have your levers that you can pull on in a campaign, the list that you can send to, or the copywriting that you're sending them, greatly. And so when we're thinking about trying to find message market fit for customers, or when you're trying to find message market fit for yourself, we want to, we start with these because I just like the way that AI modulates these emails and makes them relevant for every person we're reaching out to. And then we move to the triggers, we change up the copywriting, and then we do unscalable, but really like growth hacky kind of things down here, right? But inside of all these campaigns, you also want to be thinking about making a direct offer, relating case studies. I mean, that's what the lookalikes campaign is entirely for. Relating case studies, showing a ton of social proof. We have one campaign where literally all we do is just inundate them with social proof. I'm not sure if it's on this doc. No, it's not on this doc. But what we'll do is we will literally just tell people, hey, this is how we help people. I'm going to put 10 case studies below in my signature and let me know if it's worth reaching out. And then we just inundate them with case studies and social proof, right? And so then, of course, lead magnets and insights is just another way to get their attention and get some engagement and all those things as well, too. And so I definitely recommend that you should start with making that direct offer and then move down this scale as you so need, because there's some markets that you can't make a direct offer. And I think it's worth talking a little bit about, is your offer a offer where you're trying to generate demand or you're trying to capture demand? And so I get this really from the client ascension guys, but I think it's a really important thing to talk about. When you're generating demand, I can just walk up to somebody, I could just cold email somebody and just say, hey, do you want a list of all of your past, all of the people who liked your last 10 LinkedIn posts? Do you want a list of all those people with their email addresses? You weren't waking up this morning and saying, hey, this would be great to have. But if somebody presented it to you, they would say yes. And that's generating demand, right? And so on the flip side, if are a cybersecurity company or an accounting company or a website design builder, you're very much on the demand capture, where most of the positive responses you're going to be getting are because the people are already in market and you essentially just found them randomly, and then you're going to hit them at the right time. And so you need to weigh out which side of it you're on. And if you're on the demand capture side, you probably need to think about, one, how can you be doing lead magnets and all this social proof and those kinds of things a lot better. But I even know a website agency that they do great with their outbound campaigns, but they're still sending very, very high volume campaigns. And they've, one of their case studies is Google, right? And so you just really need to weigh, what is it, a realistic outcome for you on all these campaigns. And then the final thing is to know when to move on from these campaigns. So we like to test each of these campaigns with batches of 1,000 contacts, because on average, across all of our customers last year, we needed to reach out to 300 contacts in order to get a positive response. And so if you reach out to 1,000 people and you get no responses, you know that you need to shift the direction of the campaign 100%, right? And so I like to test in those batches of 1,000, and then we see where are you in that ratio of 1 to 300 contacts in order to get a positive response, right? And so then if you're below 1 in 300, that's a campaign you should scale. Like, hit the moon, go crazy, send as many emails as you can without having to reuse your list in 3 months, right? That's the general framework that we'll think about. But if you don't beat that 1 in 300, keep trying things and mixing things up. But if you tried a ton of things, and now at this point you just need meetings, you did launch a campaign where you were getting, for every 500 people you reached out to, you were getting a positive response, I would go back to that one and redo your math and say, okay, if I need to get 3 leads a day, I need to send 1,500 emails. I need to send to 1,500 net new contacts per day. How many emails do I have to send? Do I have the runway that when I have to reuse this list, it's 3 months down the line? And this is also considering that you're sending 3 emails in a sequence and things like that. And so I'm going to call this video Message Market Fit Part 2, because I've already tried to hypothesize about this in the past. I think there were definitely things that I was wrong about, and I hope that this is a much more direct path to message market fit and people enjoy this video and the way that I've been thinking about it. I do not claim that this is the answer by any means. We are all, of course, on a journey trying to figure out what works in marketing. But this is definitely when I was reviewing a ton of our past customer campaigns, a lot of them came down to some of these campaigns. And so that's why we include them in our message market fit process. So I hope you enjoy. Comment if you have any questions, and thanks for watching.